Ciao everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Blair. I am an American expat, businesswoman, and influencer based in Belgrade, Serbia. In today's topic, I want to dive into the 3 reactions I get when I tell people I live in Belgrade, Serbia. Currently, I am in the Caribbean on business promoting the different citizenship by investment programs for the last month, and I've encountered a lot of people, whether they're local or they're also expats or they're travelers, and I've gotten 3 reactions. I want to dive into this video, and it might ruffle a couple of feathers about why do I get these reactions, how do I respond to the reactions, and like this morning on the 5:30 a.m. morning walk, I had some interesting conversations, and by the end of the walk, it was clear they're like, oh, don't talk bad about Serbia to Angela, my first name, because she is a defender of Serbia. So let's get started. In no particular order, we'll begin with the reaction of, where is Serbia? When I tell people, oh, I'm American, I live in Belgrade, Serbia. And I just say, oh, it's in the Balkans. The Balkans is not Eastern Europe, because most of Eastern Europe, and people correct me if I'm wrong, is former Soviet countries that were part of the Soviet Union. So think Romania, think Bulgaria. That area is more of Eastern Europe. We all know Western Europe, like Germany, Spain, Portugal, that's Western Europe. The Balkans area. So you have Serbia, you have Montenegro, you have Croatia, technically you have Greece, you have Albania, and please spare me, it's in that region. I never said Albania is part of Yugoslavia. I made that mistake long ago, but it is in the Balkans. And you have Moldova, you have Macedonia, that is the Balkan region. And when I explain the geography, they say, oh, very nice. What is it like in Serbia? I tell them about my positive experience and how I have a great life there. I have a business, I'm an influencer, how I accidentally just moved to Belgrade, stayed there and loved it. And the reactions are quite neutral. Not a lot of people know about Serbia, and I'm fine with that. And I'm fine when people have a neutral reaction, and then we just go about our life. Like, okay, cool, you live in Serbia as an American, great. The next reaction, people literally say to my face, and I think because I'm American and people feel safe enough to say some things to me, and I'm also a Black woman, so they're like, ah, well, I can be really honest. It's like, oh, Serbs are uncivilized. Serbs, you can't trust them. Serbia is such a backwards country. How can you live there? And in my mind, I'm like, how are you saying this to me? Serbia is home. I always try to keep my composure when people express their ignorance or their hatred or their bias towards Serbia. But this trip has exposed how Serbia is very much demonized to the rest of the world, how people just want to hold on to the propaganda that US media and other media outlets has painted Serbia as this uncivilized, evil people, and you should never go there, which I believe is very deliberate. If anything, media is a very powerful tool that many former colonial powers like the US or the UK or even Australia use to shape how people perceive other people. I believe in justice. I believe in fairness. I believe that at the end of the day, we're all human beings and people should not get away with committing evil. However, and this is a big however before you come for me, certain countries or civilizations get to completely whitewash their path and use a whole playbook of deflect, distract, and deny. Historians, correct me if I'm wrong, that has not committed some type of atrocity, past or present. And I've been fortunate to visit many beautiful places. I have been fortunate to meet all types of people. So my worldviews are not shaped by what I see in the media or how I grew up as an American in the US. I've talked to people as far as New Zealand, upwards to Finland, Singapore, China, South Korea, Japan, Canada. You know, I've been to many places, and now this region. And to my knowledge, there is no one that is completely innocent. The difference between Serbia, I know a small nation, and let's say the UK, another small but bigger nation, is that in the UK, which everyone loves to go to because there's a Big Ben, there's afternoon tea, you have all the luxury stores, is that they get to completely whitewash their past. So the British Empire, which is well known for the sun never sets on the empire, committed a lot of atrocities. The colonial playbook has been to distract people from the past. Like, look, we have afternoon tea. Look, we have these cool accents. Or just deny or completely erase their past. So they get to be this really cool nation where they get a lot of tourism dollars, the royal family's funded, and everyone just loves the UK. But Serbia is held hostage to its past. So there's a lot of hypocrisy. Another nation that is very much beloved, it's much bigger, but also has the same playbook or branding of distracting and deflecting and eventually denying a lot of the atrocities they committed in their past. Japan. I've been to Japan. And while I spent 5 years in Asia, I didn't know at the time when I was an English teacher that the Japanese committed a lot of atrocities against the Koreans, against China, against most of Southeast Asia. But today, everyone's like, oh, Japan, oh, the sushi, oh, the magna, oh, the J-pop, oh, the skincare, oh, the Hello Kitty. You know, we're just obviously distracted. The reaction I get from people when they're like, oh, you live in Serbia, you're American. You know that the Americans in NATO bombed Serbia. Do people act badly towards you? Are people suspicious of you? I will have to say people still think I'm a spy. I'm not a spy. People are friendly. People are welcoming. I have not had any type of prejudice from locals who say, oh, you're American, you're a horrible human being. Like, people just say, don't refer to yourself as Tony Blair. Because when I tell people my name is Blair, and I'm like, oh, like Tony Blair, I used to say that. They're like, do not say that. You could say Blair from Gossip Girl or the Blair Witch Project, but do not say Tony Blair. No one has been prejudiced against me because I'm an American. It's like someone asking the Japanese, oh, how do you feel seeing all those Americans in Japan doing business or traveling or studying, given that the US dropped an atomic bomb in Japan? Nobody asked that question because it's assumed, okay, well, that was a past. The Japanese got over it, and now we're friends, and we can move on and just be in peace and harmony. Do you see the correlation? I'm an American in Serbia. Yes, America and NATO bombed Serbia. That all Serbs hate Americans. That's not true. I've been to Japan. I've met people that live in Japan, and no one has ever questioned, as an American, do you feel safe, or are people rude or skeptical or hate you because you're an American living in Japan, and given what America did to Japan? None of that. And if you're an American living in Japan or experience any type of racism, let me know in the comments. My point is that the demonization of Serbia is very intentional. A lot of people still believe the propaganda, and I'll continue to share my experiences as an expat, as a businesswoman, as an influencer in Serbia. But I am just a little annoyed after 3.5 years that people still have such a poor view and a biased view of Serbia. And you shouldn't feel comfortable to talk poorly about any nation. And while I'm enjoying the Caribbean, I have came across someone in St. Kitts who was talking positively about Yugoslavia and how he knows the history of the region and how NATO, what they did. So he knows the deal. But it's just some expats and other tourists from other, I guess, richer countries that have a very bad view of Serbia. Finally, I want to address the current situation with the protests. Serbia is a democracy. In every democracy, especially this year, people are protesting. So this morning or this month when I was traveling and I say, oh, I live in Belgrade, people say, oh, aren't there protests there? Aren't there riots there? Serbia is a democracy. That's what I say. First, it's a democracy because people have the right to protest. These are my experiences. I know it's a bit controversial to say, but it has to be said. Have a discussion in the comment section. Subscribe. I will be back in Belgrade later this month. Let me know. Thank you for watching. Bye!